In this video we will resume our trip from the city of Flagstaff, Arizona, and we will go to the Santa Monica Pier, California, completing Route 66. Let's go! In the previous video we passed through grandiose places such as Forrest Gump Point, Monument Valley, Grand Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, and followed the beautiful highways of Utah and Arizona until we reach the city of Flagstaff, from where we will continue our journey along Route 66. The day before we had managed to advance our trip a little, and so we left a little later from the city of Flagstaff, Arizona, already with the sun showing that the day would be very hot. After passing through the city of Kingman, Arizona, we followed the Oatman Highway along the oldest stretch of Route 66 in the region known as Golden Valley. Route 66 has undergone several changes throughout its useful life. Some stretches have been incorporated into other more modern highways and today receive another name. Some stretches have become local traffic highways, and other stretches have been abandoned or are simply no longer used. The Oatman Highway is a two-lane road that was one of the first stretches of Route 66. This 8-mile stretch through the Black Mountains is known as the Sidewinder. It has 191 curves and returns. The curves closed by the mountains are inspiring. Riding motorcycles in this place is especially fun and challenging because the road is very narrow and without a side, reserving surprises with each new turn. Along this highway it is possible to see old cars that could not complete the route and fell on the mountain, being abandoned to this day in this place. This highway will take us to the city of Oatman. This city is a return to the past with its abandoned gold mines, which around 1900 were very busy, and so Route 66 crossed the city to drain production. In 1941, with the decline in the amount of gold extracted and the country's need for other metals that were necessary for the war effort in which the U.S. was involved, the city's gold mining operations were permanently closed, starting the fall of the city of Oatman. After the end of the gold mining, the city was abandoned. Due to the dangerousness and difficulty of traveling with large vehicles along the stretch of Route 66 that leads to Oatman, in 1953 a more modern highway was built that deviated from the city, turning Oatman into a ghost town. Currently, the American Census estimates that the city has 100 residents. Here you can still see the roots of the famous Wild West, including reenactments of cowboy duels and people dressed in period clothing. The buildings are centuries old and maintain their original features, taking visitors on a journey back in time. The wild donkeys that frequent the streets of Oatman are direct descendants of the donkeys of the gold miners who freed the animals when the mines closed. Most of these donkeys keep in several reeds along the mountains and the surrounding desert, but some of them come to the city every day. After resting a little, hydrating and taking the opportunity to stay a little in the shade, which is something rare in this region, we move forward towards the border with California. It is necessary to pay attention to the animals on the track so as not to get involved in accidents. After leaving Oatman, Arizona, we moved on under a lot of sun and heat in the middle of a desert region of Mojave County.
Só para registrar então aqui se está confortável, está gostoso. 43 graus?
43 graus.
Deixa eu ver. Aqui, ó. 43 graus. No meio do deserto aqui de Mojave. Aí, ó. O vento parece que tem um secador de cabelo na cara, né? É isso aí, ó.
After an exhausting morning by the excessive heat, we decided to stop at a famous restaurant in the city of Topic, on the edge of the Colorado River, bordering the state of California.
Porra, velho.
Pedrão, cara. Quantos graus hoje em Mojave?
44. 44, né? 44,5?
44
graus.
Aí...
A mão assim no guidão da moto, assim, ó. Sabe quando tu bota fogo na churrasqueira, assim, tu vai ver se já dá pra botar picanha? É a mesma sensação.
Mas aqui, ó, tá recompensando agora, aqui, ó. Aí. Aqui, Marcelo.
Recompensa aqui, ó. Olha aqui, bicho. Agora no meio do deserto, o Rio Colorado, né, Pedro? Rio Colorado. Olha só que coisa linda. Olha aqui. Olha só. Olha lá.
Tamo descendo aí, ó. Aê, saúde.
Só com uma dessa aqui pra aguentar o trem.
É, show, é isso aí.
After more than 2 hours resting in this beautiful restaurant, we considered ending the day in the next city due to the extreme heat. Our options were to run another 20 minutes to the city of Needles, California, or face the Mojave Desert and go to Barstow, California. After a quick vote, we decided on the second option.
Aí, uma sombra. Fora o calor da moto, fora o calor do asfalto.
Isso aqui não é coisa pra guri pequeno. Isso aqui é coisa pra nego que tem que ser de direita, nego forte, nego bom.
Casca grossa?
Casca grossa. Um charutinho aqui, ó. Deixa eu mostrar um negócio pra vocês aqui, ó. Então, até agora foi um charuto. Tem mais um aqui, ó.
Ó. Chimarrãozinho na outra mão?
Chimarrãozinho, outra coisa, eu vou acender isso aqui no escape da moto, tá? Aguardem.
We decided to take the road to Barstow, California, a journey of approximately 3 hours in the Mojave Desert, with temperatures that exceeded 117 degrees Fahrenheit. The only way to cool off was to wet the clothes, which dried quickly.
É gelado, sim.
As Route 66 in this region is quite abandoned, we passed a long stretch without being able to fill up and almost ran out of gas in the Mojave Desert, until we found Roy's Cafe, an iconic place on Route 66 and where we bought the most expensive gasoline of the whole trip. But in the situation we were in, the price of gasoline was the least important. The owner has a reserve of cold water to wet the travelers who passed by suffering from the heat of the desert. A few miles further on we find the famous Baghdad Cafe, the place where the film of the same name was recorded. We were very well received, with the film showing on a big screen and a flag of Brazil with the signature of several travelers who passed by there. We bought some bottles of water and continued the trip. Upon leaving Baghdad Cafe, the sun was already hiding on the horizon, but we found a very beautiful scenario for a few more photos and for Marcello to light his cigar, celebrating the success of the trip that was reaching the end of Route 66.
Pessoal, aqui como é que Harleiro acende charuto aqui na rota Miami.
And it is with this beautiful sunset on the road that we close today, arriving in Barstow exhausted by the heat, but with very little left to complete the Route 66 expedition.
O que é isso aí, Marcelão?
Cara, isso aqui é pra minha botinha guerreira chegar ao final da viagem. Aí.
Que técnica é essa, fazer um furo ali na ponta, aí tu bota outro ali na ponta ali, ó. É? Faz um furo aqui na ponta que tu bota outro ali.
Tem um alicate aí. Tá ficando perigoso,
Mas vai ficar perigoso assim?
Não.
Aí, mas quer fazer um torniquete aí nos dedos?
Ninguém tem um...
Aqui o pariu.
É, bicho.
Essa aí é...
Acha que é fácil trabalhar com plástico? Uma merda.
After Marcello made the last adjustments to his boot, we left for our last stretch of Route 66, leaving Barstow, California, early to enjoy the most pleasant weather of dawn in this region, around 97 Fahrenheit. In this last part of the one-way trip, along Route 66, we passed through the city of San Bernardino and stopped to register our passage through the first MC Donald's store, portrayed in the film The Founder, and in the sequence, we passed through the famous Wigwam Hotel, founded in 1949 to receive travelers from Route 66. Arriving in Los Angeles, the traffic begins to get more intense, and the characteristics of large cities appear, making it clear that our destination is close. Before completing our trip, we passed through the Hollywood Hills region, because although in California motorcycles were allowed between the cars, at the time we arrived the traffic was very heavy and it was very hot, so we preferred to make a small detour because we had already walked a lot between the cars and we preferred not to risk it. Crossing the country from east to west by motorcycle is a unique and inexplicable experience. The feeling of reaching the destination, even knowing that you still have the way back home, is indescribable. Completing Route 66 is the realization of a personal dream, and certainly every motorcyclist who really loves motorcycling has dreamed of it. At this moment, the euphoria of the arrival takes over. All the fatigue is gone, the heat no longer matters, the feeling of mission accomplished is rewarding. This video ends at the Santa Monica Pier, where the final landmark of Route 66 is located. Thank you for following our trip. Now we will take a few days off and then start the return to Michigan. The Route 66 expedition ends here, but in the next videos we will have our records of Los Angeles, our trip to Las Vegas passing through the Death Valley, and the return to Michigan. Don't miss it.